Hey everyone, I wanted to share with you all the benefits I received from Optimized Coach program. It's Optimized Coach, Optimized Mastery, or Mastery Series. I'll start with some of the physical benefits that's more tangible. Right off the bat, I was able to lose 15 pounds. I started about 161 in the beginning of the year. I'm now fluctuating around 145, 146, give or take a pound or two every other day. I was able to lose the 15 pounds about the first 3 months, and what I liked about the program was that I was able to sustain it the next 8 to 9 months, and I keep at that weight, and that's mainly from what we learned from the program in terms of eating, moving, sleeping, mainly moving and eating in this part. And for me, I wasn't trying to lose. Actually, that's not true. I knew that aspect of my life, the physical aspect of my life, I wanted to improve on. I wanted to optimize. And, I had dad bod, and after COVID and having kids and staying at home for a year, not moving, just feel yucky. Now, it's something that I'm kind of proud of in terms of my life. Not kind of proud, I am proud of that I'm able to, basically I've been working out every day for the last 300 days consistently, and that was one thing that was always a obstacle for me, to be consistent in my workout routine. And through the program, the Optimized Coach, I was able to understand how to be consistent. And they don't tell you specifically, it's just some of the stuff we learn about habit building and habit retaining, that helped me focus in on, okay, I'm gonna move every day, and I'm gonna quote unquote make it attainable and sustainable. And that was a big part for me. And through that, it's one of those things I'm pretty proud of. And that's on the physical side, right? The losing weight, which is tangible. I feel good about my appearance. I'm not shy about taking my shirt off at the beach anymore, and I don't have that much shame or embarrassment with that. And physically stronger, and it's just part of my regimen on a day-to-day basis that I go to, which I think speaks loudly in itself, because I think that's one of the things that a lot of people struggle with, is how to exercise. And this definition of what exercise and what a workout is really changed for me. And I'm very clear on what I want in terms of what I think is the biggest benefit of working out every day is. And that was one of the biggest changes in my life. Other than that, is what I was able to eliminate in the Optimized program. In terms of nutrition, it was pretty simple. It's just 3 different rules. One is no sugar water. Basically, you don't drink your sugar, and that includes removing soda, fruit juices, and you just understand what sugar is and how it impacts you, and how I don't want to say deceptive it is, but how it impacts a lot of our energy levels. And this was another big part of me going through a program to understand what energy really means, sustainable energy throughout the day. And sugar was a big part of that. I never understood the idea of insulin spikes and all that food can contribute as part of. And through the program, I have a better understanding of that. And one of the eliminations was sugar, no more sugar at a high level. Doesn't mean I'm perfect every day in this. It just means I understand the side effects of it, and I play a game called Worth It, Not Worth It. And I go through a series of, hey, is this worth me putting in my body? Because I consciously understand the consequences of it, and I emotionally feel the consequences of it, because I'm so conscious of what it can do to my energy level while exploring and experiencing it on a day-to-day basis. So that that was one thing that helped a lot with the loss of weight, and also processed foods. I eliminate a lot of processed food, and that's like stuff like, things that have high shelf life, like potato chips and cereal, and definitely like candy and sugary snacks, right? Once I got rid of the sugar water, it was easy for me to say no to the sugary snacks too, the Snickers bars and things like that. And then the last thing about eating was not eating late at night, which was always like a thing for me, where I don't eat late at night anymore. And I basically, my last meal is my dinner. And then I don't eat at least 2 to 3 hours, maybe sometimes 4 hours before I go to bed, depending on how quote unquote extreme I feel that day. And those are the basic 3 things of nutrition from Optimize that I learned, and everything kind of spirals from there. Obviously, what you find out going through the program is you're always optimizing. I'm always optimizing. So once I added that, it's like, okay, what's the next level of this? And for me, there was parts where I started doing a food journal, which was, it's an experiment I did. And you're always trying to refining little things, right? And that's what I did through this program. And another part was that added was, now I'm more conscious of prepping my food for time's sakes, and also I started to cook more. So all those are additive. I did that more later on in the program as I was experiencing the benefits of eliminating certain things and adding more to it. So part of the optimized program, what you get is you figure out what to take out, because that's the easiest way to make drastic change. So all the things that are not serving you, and and along the way you figure out little things to add to your game, on whatever game you want to play, is physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, on all those dimensions. I just use the base case of the losing weight as something tangible, right? And just eliminating certain foods as tangible things that happen along the way. We work in the framework of energy, work, and love. That's energy. And another thing about energy from the program was definitely understanding energy management, and understand how sleep and recovery and energy recovery is a big part of the game, and sleep is part of that equation too. My sleep is a lot better now. I prioritize sleep early. Basically, I have 2 kids, and I sleep when they go to sleep, pretty early. They're pretty young, so they sleep early, and after they sleep, I sleep too. That's because I see the value of sleeping early now, right? And I see through the program, I understand what willpower means, not on an abstract level, but as what I experience, and mental clarity really means. Because I sleep early because I wake up early, and I know I wake up early is because my willpower is the strongest. And my willpower is the strongest, that's when I get the most done without distractions, right? With the family, it's very difficult to find time to do things on your own, especially with a family and then a full-time job as well. So in the mornings, when I get a lot of the stuff that's most important for me done without the distractions, and I'm able to do that, and I'm able to say no to a lot of distracting things in my life that doesn't serve me. Some of that is just like entertainment, adding to the stuff I eliminated other than the food, is a lot of the entertainment distractions that happened in my life that distracted me on more of the important things I want to accomplish in my life. Things like watching Netflix, I eliminate a lot of that. Late night social media feeds, I eliminate that on the smartphone. Not 100%, I always say eliminate, but it's not part of my ritual at night anymore. Whereas before that was part of it. Also news feeds, that's gone too. Video games, that's gone in my life. So a lot of those late at night things that keep us up, like the blue screens, the TV, blue light, smartphone blue light, video game, adrenaline that you get, they all keep you up and kind of prevent you from having an early bedtime and restful sleep. those things that's like, okay, I need to sleep early, so I'm not going to entertain those things anymore. And that's helped me a lot in terms of making sure my sleep quality is better. And it doesn't mean I don't watch TV entirely. It's not like black and white, right? I just prioritize my recovery and my ability to sleep more than I prioritize being entertained and having entertainment at night. And I don't use those vehicles of entertainment as, oh, I need to relax. Those are not relaxing mediums for me anymore at this point in my life. What's a relaxing medium is sleep. Or is another practice that I started was meditation. Before, meditation was a very abstract idea for me. It's things I see in kung fu movies and like some like high spiritual teachers that have to go up to a mountain to get enlightenment. It was a very far abstract idea for me to meditate, right? Because I wasn't trying to reach enlightenment, but I didn't see it as a tool for me to relax, and ultimately as a tool for me to hear what I call my inner authority, my inner voice, my conscious, my gut, my connection with higher beings, higher powers, my advice from my parents, or advice from people that had high influence in my life that I remembered at one point in my life. That process of meditation, going internal and clarity and hearing my own voice is part of my recovery phase that I discovered while doing the practice, right? And Optimized Coach, is a lot of it is moving from theory to practice to mastery. And as I did the practice and I incorporated it in my life, I found the benefits of it, and now meditation is just another go-to thing that I do as additive to my life. I meditate when I first wake up, and I meditate before I go to sleep. And that part of the process also helped me sleep too, because what I found out in meditation and what you find out through the program is it's part of the practice of kind of digesting all that information that we get on a day-to-day basis, right? By the end of the day, I'm done mentally, but I need to make sure that there's a space and a time for all that to get processed in my head and for it to kind of decipher. So when I sleep, I'm calm enough and I'm quiet enough for me to fall asleep easy and peacefully and calmly. So that practice kind of, it made sense. So that's at an energy level. There's probably more on that. Let's talk about work. For me, we always talk in the framework of energy, work, and love. For me, my work, I've been a lot more productive. And that has to do with me going to sleep early, but just more clarity. I use the process of thinking through problems in my work, just zoning in on, hey, what could be the problem? And I take time out and space to kind of think through it instead of just always being on, which also has to do with the energy management part. The other part of it is being on for a short period of time and being off. And this is like really understanding willpower and how much we have and the natural rhythms of it, the cycles, and respecting that and honoring that. So when I'm on for a while, I turn completely off, which meditation helped me as part of that process, or movement, or just good recovery routines that I have, and then I could go back on again, right? Eating, moving, and meditation, and and little naps really help with all that throughout the day, so I could go back and be on again. Another thing about work is being able to block out distraction, to have blocks of time of no distraction, of full concentration. We call it deep work, and honoring that and understand the rhythms of that. And for me, I block out certain times where I say, hey, I don't want anyone to bother me. I'm just going to focus in so I don't get distracted. But I'm able to use and apply that framework because of all the things I learned in Optimized Coach, right? That framework is there for me to execute upon it. And I've been finding that it's really making a big difference on the level of depth of problems I could think in and the level of depth of the solutions that I come up with. So that's work, like my professional job that I do a day-to-day. On top of that, I have side hobbies that I like. I've been more active in these side projects. One is I really want to be part of this whole social media movement, which I was not a big part of during the time. So since Optimize program, within the 300 days, I made a lot of traction in terms of getting my website out, having a presence on the internet for me, having a blog, starting a blog, writing, doing creative work. Also, I started a YouTube channel, obviously, and this video is part of that. And I had the courage to do so. I also did like a podcast. I do a micro podcasting. So started like a clubhouse room. Every Sunday we meet to talk about our goals and what we want to do and accomplish. It's every Sunday at 6 a.m. In our room. So if you're interested in joining, we do that on a weekly basis, and we use kind of the framework we learned from Optimize Coach in terms of what our goals are, what are our obstacles that we encounter during the week, and we'll figure out what was good, what needs work, and how we're going to plan to optimize and improve the next week. Have a next plan of attack for the week, and have like a support team to do that.
1, 2, 3, optimize.
Let's talk about some of the emotional changes. Let's get to the love part, right? And the benefits that I received through my family, through all this, quote unquote, some crisis happened through this 300-day program. Basically, one of my family members had cancer, pretty young guy, and it brought our family together. And this, because of the program, I kind of had the tools to figure out how do I connect even deeper with my brothers and sisters, right? Basically, it was my nephew had cancer, and I really had to figure out how to support my sister through this turmoil, and on top of that, through COVID, right? So because of the program, I was able to handle a lot of adversity and turbulence. It just changes, right, on an emotional level with my family, and now my relationship with my sister and brother are closer than ever. So that's actually a relieving part of the program that helped me get a little touched up thinking about it, how it impacts me. I'm definitely a better father because of going through the program. I have a really clear not the right word, but vision of how I want to parent, right? It's very simple, and I have 2 simple rules here. One is I want to be firm and also warm, right? Basically tiger dad, and but with loving support. Just have high expectations of what I expect from my kids, but at the same time nurturing and loving, and always know that I'd rather be nurturing father first than just, hey, you need to get these done. But I was kind of ambiguous about that before the Optimized Coach program, of what kind of parent I really want to be. It's good to have both, right? You can be firm and loving at the same time. It doesn't have to be one or the other. It doesn't have to be given every time, and you can't have your demands and expectations from your kids. So that was part of it as a parent, and I also teach a lot of what I learned through the program to my kids. But more than that, I realized, like anything, and one thing we tout is we become the exemplar of what we want to see in the world, right? And the old saying is, kids don't do what you tell them to do; they do what they see in you and what you do. So for me, being an exemplar is actually a big representation of how I live my life. Like, I'm not going to just tell you, dude, this is how you do it, and this is what it looks like, right? Sorry, I get touched up thinking about it for my kids, because I realize how optimizing breath, baby, that thing works. So one thing for my kids is you have to be an exemplar. Like, they're not going to listen to you what you tell them. You have to show them. And so you practice your creed, right? And that's what we do at Optimize. Whatever we end up learning through all this wisdom, through this 300-day program, we try to show it through our day-to-day, moment by moment, being the best version of ourselves. In Optimize, we call that intense trust, confidence. And because we know that we live up to our words, right? What we do what we say. And that doesn't mean we do it with perfection, but what we learn, we try to exemplify. So that part allows me to be a better parent, because I don't have to say as much, even though I say a lot to them, but they also see what I do too. And I'm in alignment with, hopefully, I'm in alignment with what I'm able to tell them and what I'm able to show. And if I can't explain it, I try to do it by showing them what it means. And also, I'm definitely a better husband. My wife may sometimes not agree with that, but I know the holes of my game, right? I could see that through what we learned, and I also learned a lot of patience and a lot of emotional management, energy management. A lot of it has to do with energy management. I understand the dynamics of that and how that's a crucial factor of home dynamics, right? In Optimize, we talk about different levels of love. In this when I talk about family, with my siblings and my immediate family and my kids and my wife, this is love 1.0. Then we have interactions with my interaction with people outside of my immediate family is love 2.0, when we have interactions of strangers and just acknowledging and seeing people and just giving them the nod, or I see you, and not ignoring people, just random people on the street. I notice I do that more often, right? And just seeing, we call it seeing the light or the God in others. Just seeing the greatness in others, random people. So that's common humanity, seeing the goodness in others. And then even for me, love 3.0, encouragement, encouraging others. I see that I'm more encouraging towards other people. Like, you could do it, especially my coworkers, people that report to me, more of a leadership role, and just seeing the light in others, the greatness, because it all comes down to love towards oneself. Simple rule is, I ain't perfect. I'm not perfect, and I'm not going to be the first person that's not perfect, right? Not perfect human being here, right? Hello. And neither are a lot of other people. And once you kind of accept that, then you realize, hey, it's no shame, man. It's common humanity. I'm not perfect. I'm just human, and I have flaws. And even though I tout all these quote unquote great things that happen, it doesn't mean I execute on a perfect level. And realizing that going through the program was refreshing, and it made me become more, I thought initially I was pretty compassionate, but it's another level. There's always, you also learn through the program, there's levels to these games, right? That's why it's called optimizing. That's why we always call it spiraling up, because there's always a next level of depth to what you could be, and we say you're never exonerated to this process or this work. And same for things like compassion and relatability and being connected with human beings. There's depth to understanding of all this. And even for me, just seeing the imperfections of myself and accepting that, right? And also, once I accept that, then it's like, okay, if I can accept that for myself, it's easy to accept that for others too, right? And then when people close to me are not meeting my expectations of what I think things should be, I'm more tolerant of that. Again, that has to do with energy levels too, right? I have the energy and the capacity to also be conscious of that and conscious of my emotions, but also just knowing that, hey, it's okay, man. It's like, we don't need to make people feel bad about themselves or point out the faults, right? I don't need to be the person pointing that finger at other people when I'm so imperfect myself, right? And it's really weird, this whole part of kind of moving to, I started out with like the physical, and then the mental is kind of like the work, the physical is the energy level, and then you kind of get to the emotional level where you have about love towards family and others and friends and all this other stuff, and then love towards self. And then you get to the part where you realize this is the next part of the game. Individual results may vary, but for me, definitely got a deeper spiritual connection with myself. I talked about meditation and going in and listening to your inner authority and hearing that voice. Ultimately, my understanding of that voice is that it's connected to this thing, higher powers, or the field, right, in the tool style. And whatever it is for you as an individual, whatever your spiritual practices are, whether it's, this is your gut, your instinct, or you're connected to the universe, or to God, or to a higher power, or to the collective unconscious, however you want to define it. I have a better understanding of what that means through just this whole process of optimizing my life and listening to my inner authority and having a practice to do that. So it was pretty touching. So even this act of crying, like when you see tears, my understanding of this is at a deeper level. For me, it's an interpretation of what I call the truth, right? It's your soul explaining to you that, hey, you're saying something truthful, and you cannot deny that because it's coming out in a physical expression through tears. And when that happens, it's like all these connections happen, and whenever I tear up, it's like a signal to me. It's like a reverse, we call it a reverse indicator. It's a signal of pay attention, truth is coming out, and it is your soul communicating to you, or some higher being communicating to you. Optimizing breath time, baby. So the tears are a physical expression of your soul talking to you and some truth coming out. And that's kind of the profound effects of going through this program, at least for me. At the end of the day, all these other stuff is kind of external, concrete, but it comes full circle. You actually get a pretty good spiritual experience coming through this. And it's part of the whole thing, right? But it's not tangible in a way, but it's experientiable. And that for me is like one of the many great benefits that I encompassed through going through this program. One thing about the program is we love it all, right? That's the last part, where love infinity, love everything. It's part of the game. It's just accept it and embrace it. And I'll see you in the program, man. I hope you guys found this beneficial and served you in some way. And definitely saw me bawling out. So, served me in many ways. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.